Subscribe, please.
Hey guys, it's your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I am back with the next part of Thunder in the East. I believe this is part 6, if I'm correct. I don't know, I'll annotate it if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's part 6. We'll go with that. And we had just left off with our combat phase for the Russian turn. They had attempted somewhat of some counterattacks and failed kind of miserably. Just did not do all that well when they were trying to push back the German offensive a little bit. So we've got to handle our regular movement phase now. Again, we're just going to pick right up where we left off. One thing I do want to run by you guys, though, is there was a question down in the comments on the previous video about the attacks that I conducted down over here in the Hungary and the Romanian sides. And as far as I could tell, reading through the rules, the only restrictions I could find were in relation to, you know, the Hungarian and the Romanian troops attacking into Russia and exerting zones of control, but I didn't find any about Russian units attacking into those countries. So let me know if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I think I'm right on that there's not a restriction about them, get my fat arm out of the camera, about them attacking down over here. So anyway, we'll go ahead and pick up with our regular movement phase. Units can operate regularly at this point. They don't have the restrictions that they have during the special movement phase. They still have to worry about enemy zones of control, though, when it comes to taking and moving. But a infantry unit isn't automatically locked down in this phase. Remember, they can take and move out of a zone of control. But if they move into a zone of control or within, zone of control, then their movement's going to end. So they have to kind of think about that. Now I'm looking at where I'm wanting to move, and the Russians, I don't know what I'm going to do with these guys. They're just, it's basically meat for the grinder to put in the way and form a little bit of a wall to try to hold the Germans back. It really just seems like the point of Barbarossa, just kind of like how it was in real life, is to hold them back as long as possible, because you're not going to hold them back forever. Eventually they are going to bust through. But we'll just have to see how it pans out. It all comes down to the dice gods anyway. All right, units that are on supply hexes, kind of like this one that's on a city, I'm definitely going to leave those where they are. That's a victory hex as well. Victory hexes, again, are going to have that red outline to them. So I'm going to leave units definitely on victory hexes or supply city hexes, or especially ones that have HQs or improved positions to make them a little bit tougher. So where are we going to go? Let's straighten these up a little bit. Fat thumbing them, and they're knocked around. All right, let's move this guy up. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Get a little bit of a wall going over here. And we'll go over here, plug this hole. And I kind of got to plug this gap that's opening up over here. So we'll take in, oop, I did not see it though. Pull this guy in, 1, 2, fill that gap there. And pull this guy in, 1, where are we going to go? 2, maybe. Get this city hex. Where are we going to go? Where else are we going to go? Now, remember, during this phase, at the start of it, I did not say it because I'm not doing any of those things, but you are also going to reset your rail marker, remove any of your interdicted markers, which we don't have any yet, and you can also build up your stacked together ground units. We don't have any of those to worry about. And on top of building them up, you can do a voluntary breakdown. So if you want to break down a larger army size unit, into a couple of corps or divisions, however they happen to break down, and send them out in different directions, you can do that at this point as well. All right, so let's continue with our movement. I don't want to move that guy up because that's just going to crush it. But if I keep these here and these panzers try to move up here, then I'll be surrounding them and I might be able to put some hurt back down on them. So I'm probably going to, we'll leave that guy there. We'll bring this one up as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 into the, nope, can't go 4 into the woods because the woods is 2, so we'll stop them there. Where else are we going to go here? We've got some mountain guys, which are not doing me any good here. I could have used them down over there in the mountains. Man, hell yeah, I'll send them back down to the mountains. I should have just done that in the first place. Oh well, you live and you learn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Send them back down towards the mountains. Bring these guys up. 1, 2, 3. And we'll stop them there. And I'm kind of debating on whether or not I'm going to take and pull some of these units off the Hungarian line because I don't really need all that much. I'm not as worried about the Hungarian troops because, again, they just aren't that good, and kind of pull them back into support over in this direction. Now, I'm at least going to take this 8-4 army unit and bring it around. 1, 2, we'll go 3 here. And hopefully if it survives and I've got some firepower left, because there's an objective city here. There. Look at that. Knocking them around. There is an objective city here, and it's a supply city. So obviously the Germans are definitely going to want to try to take that city. You guys can see on the map that it has the number there, and it's surrounded in the red markings letting you know that it is a victory point. So they're definitely going to try to take it. So I want to try to guard it as much as I can, but there's not too much. I just don't think there's much that the Russians can do to hold this city, not with a 24-16-5 Panzer unit, and then this Panzer unit's going to be built back up in the following turn and probably attempt to take and raise that thing up into another 24, because remember, this is the one that suffered a step loss previously. But even with a step loss, it's still a 6.56 Panzer unit with another 12. So there's a mess load of power here. That's 18 attack and then 24 attack. So it's going to crush whatever is in the way. And the Germans' general plan is to kind of crush here and then swing around, obviously using your panzers to take and punch the gaps that the infantry come pushing back through. So I'm just trying to get infantry in the way. We'll take, we pulled that guy off, and we'll take and pull this guy over. That way I've kind of got spaced out zones of control spread around over here to at least slow down enemy forces as they try to push back up. Now let's see. Am I moving anything elsewhere that you guys need to worry about? No, I'm definitely going to keep the Romanian line over here pretty much stacked up because I don't want to have all those units just open. So I'm going to have to keep more forces down over there. So they're probably going to stay. I think this is going to be it for my moves. Am I moving anywhere else? Anyone else? I'm looking at some of these on the line. They're going to get crushed. There's not many places I can move them. We can move this one back. Yeah, move him back to right there, just so he's not completely surrounded for an easy crushing victory. They'll have to move up another unit to attack him there and finish him off, but make him earn it a little bit more. Any of these guys gonna move? Now I think we'll keep these here because I've tried to kind of create, if you guys can see, like a secondary line, right? Because they punched through this first line that was here, and then about 3 or 4 hexes back, I've tried to make it to where there's another line that they're going to have to punch through, and then I'm going to keep trying to just bring in units and keep reforming the line in front of them to hold them back from these victory hexes as long as possible. But we'll see how that pans out. My strategies aren't exactly the best. All right, so we have finished our movement phase, and now we're going to go to our actual cleanup phase, because you remember you're going to do these first 4 phases when you're doing both sides, and then after that, that's when you're going to go to your housekeeping phase, and that's just moving the turn marker, checking for your victory conditions, and then adjusting your month and your season and everything. Let's take and actually pan over there to our turn record track real quick so you guys can see what's going on with that, and we'll just make this a short video, and we'll pick back up with the start of the German's turn in the next video. Okay, forgive me because I am holding the camera instead of having it set up, just because, I mean, you guys can see I've got everything set up over here and I've got maps everywhere. So the game is quite large. You're going to need a big table with it. But I've got my turn record track just set over to the side here. And we started here in June, and now we're going to be moving into July. It told us to start on the 4th week, and you guys can see there's arrows and everything pointing you where you need to go. So when you finish, a set of these, it's going to tell you to advance the month marker. We're advancing the month marker, and it's actually into a new season as well. We are into summer, so we're going to be starting off here, and this is going to be week 1 of July. All right, and there are little reminders here if you're doing something like a campaign. They've got little reminders for like Lend-Lease and stuff like that, so makes it nice and easy. And you guys can actually see we're playing to there, but think of how many videos we've already had just getting to this point, and there's going to be 4 of these turns per each one of these months. And I'm not sure how far we play into September, but it is a pretty good ways. So we've still got a good amount of game. Oh, before we're done here, you're going to look down below it to determine what you're going to roll for your weather. I'll do that when we get back over there. But this shows us what the weather is potentially going to be, and it's color coded down here on the bottom. So you can see, obviously for summer, we've got a very good chance of having clear weather, and then that's going to change depending later on. But we're actually not going to hit any of these others in our scenario. Barbarossa is going to end here in the summer. So more than likely, we're probably going to have a majority of clear weather or overcast weather for our campaign. All right, let's pan down and show you a couple other things. Okay, remember along the top of your faction mats, all right, so you've got your Russian and your German faction mats, it's going to have dates, and it's going to tell you what units are going to be entering in during those times. So you can see for July 1941, we're going to have these units become available. So I'm going to pull these down into my force pool down here. That's one big holy mess. It's all right. It's a lot of stuff to keep track of, guys, but trust me, it's not as hard. It does look complicated and complex, but once you get into it, it becomes pretty intuitive. And then you can see as we go on, there's other things that will take and get added as well. We're not going to get anywhere near down here, but like I said, I put those units on there just for ease and to have them out of the way. And to update on it, this is the part that I asked about previously, and Alan was nice enough to update me on that as these units, the yellow question mark mobilized Russian units are taken out. I've got a little stack over here as they're being taken out, and then I'm taking from this 8-4 stack of army units, and they're being put down here into the Soviet force pool. So just remember, as you're losing these guys, you're going to take and replace them with these guys. And then there is a point, where is it? Is it mentioned here? Place it here. It's here. October 1941 is when the rest of them, you're going to immediately disband all the remaining ones during that time. So that's what you need to look for. And I do believe we have, we have one other conversion we need to do here. Replace one supplied on-map regular rifle corps with a guards infantry corps from here. So we're going to do that now. We're going to take one of these and we'll replace that out. I think that's everything we've got to do time-wise here on these maps. All right, let's take and pan back to the map itself. Okay, so we're panning back over, and we've actually finished our first turn. We've got ourselves set up for our next turn. It's going to be clear weather. I went ahead and rolled off camera, so we don't have to worry about that. We're good to go. We've got a guards unit placed onto the map, replaced out there for us, and we've got our other units down to the force pool and ready to go. So we're good. And I gotta say, it only took us 5.5, because this one's a little shorter, but 6 videos to take and get through the first turn. I wonder how long it's going to take us. Maybe by 30 or 40 videos we'll be done with Barbarossa campaign. I guess we'll just have to see. But like I said, I'll probably get a little bit faster now that I've got a better feel of the game that we've got through our first turn. So we'll see how the Germans pan out on the next one. My plan is to take, and you guys see I've got a core little group here of panzer armies right here in the center, and I'm hoping to kind of continue my push and my just slam straight up through the center and see if I can break a big hole so I can push on towards Moscow. But I've still got to take cities and move in such a way that I can kind of maintain supply as I go, because if I'm out of supply, then my units get reduced down on their attack, and if they're reduced down on their attack, I kind of lose my advantage. And it's going to take a little bit because there is that whole thing about waiting for your HQs or the city's countdown marker, which takes 3 or 4 turns. So the only way I think I could actually get to Moscow with the Germans is if I just flat didn't worry about supply, like got a couple of units past it and just slammed straight towards Moscow and just took my chances. But we'll see how it pans out. I'm probably not going to play that way, but if it does, we'll see what happens. All right, but I'm definitely enjoying the game. Highly recommend it. This is probably, I gotta say, hands down, my favorite East Front war game that I've played. Because when it comes to the East Front, I don't want a small level game. I want a big game like this because the East Front is so massive. It's a big scope of the war, you know, and everyone loves that aspect of it. And for a game of this size, like I've said multiple times before, they really have streamlined it enough to where it's easy to play. And it's even easy to play when you're playing by yourself. Yeah, you're going to make a mistake here or there. I mean, that's just going to happen, especially with a game of this size. But if you're doing it like I'm doing it, where you're not worrying about the optional rules or the campaign rules, you can easily get through a starter, scenario of Barbarossa by yourself without too much difficulty. And then later on, add in those extra scenarios. When you start up your next scenarios, you can add in optional rules or the campaign rules, whichever you prefer. And you'll have more experience because you've already played through, Barbarossa with the basics. And it's fun. I gotta say, really enjoying it. Good job on the game, guys. All right, but let's see how the Germans do on their next turn when they take and try to slam up again towards Moscow. All right, that's gonna be it for me. You guys take care. I'll catch you in the next one.